Hey everyone, welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture. I'm talking a cartoon today that is not really all that old. It's not even vintage yet. From 2010, I'm going to be looking at Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. A great cartoon, one that I remember watching with my daughter back in the day. Just on the cusp of her getting into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's a fantastic cartoon. So let's chat about some of the things that I like about it. Animation is really good. Good, solid character design. Great voice work by the voice actors. Well directed. The episodes are a good balance of action, adventure, but also character development. It's got everything that you want in a TV show, and especially in a cartoon. But best of all, this show is an absolute feast for Marvel fans, new and old, honestly. I would characterize it as probably about 80% Marvel comic books, 20% Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think that had a hand in its early cancellation by Disney. I think that you get from this show a really good grounding and basis in the Marvel Universe. Changes are made, things are modernized, no doubt. But they do a really good job with key characters of letting you get to know them, the character. And character is what drives all of this stuff. As I've said before, the plots are in some ways sort of like the setting. It's an excuse to see the characters in action, to take a measure of them, to see them overcome challenges, overcome heartbreak, forge relationships with one another, all that kind of good stuff. Well, that one slide didn't work properly. Oh well, what can you do? And they have a pretty good blend of the new and the old. I have recently been reading the Avengers from issue number 1 because I just wanted to get to know the comic a lot better. And a lot of those characterizations are there in this Avengers cartoon pretty darn well. And a lot of the storylines are here. Again, with changes for adaptation, etc. It happens. But it's not something that really throws it out. And I think it's the kind of cartoon that could bring the young and old of fans of the Marvel Universe together, which is a good thing. And you got a lot of characters in this over the 2 seasons that did manage to get made. 52 episodes. You obviously have your core Avengers, and you get an introduction. Black Panther. You get Ms. Marvel. You get Mockingbird. You get a Black Widow who's a lot more like the comic book Black Widow than the Marvel Cinematic Universe Black Widow, and who's very cool. Very cool. Great design on the character. But you also get Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill. If Beta Ray Bill is showing up in your cartoon, you know the people behind it are fans. And when you look at some of the plans they had for going into season 3 and maybe beyond, these are fans. There's storylines that they want to do that are great storylines from the comic books. And again, they were going to have some adaptation to them, but we were at some point going to get the X-Men. We were going to get all sorts of cool cosmic stuff. When you read about the things that we didn't get because of its, in my opinion, early cancellation, it just kills you. But we did get, you got Power Man and Iron Fist. You got the Fantastic Four show up. Wolvie Wolverine shows up for a time. There's so much good in this thing. And it really celebrates the Marvel Universe from start up until this point in time. And we were kind of robbed of it at a certain point. Okay, so obviously I'm saying if you haven't watched this cartoon, go watch it. I give it an A+. But I think the more important thing, now that we're at a moment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where things are not going so well, there's some serious problems there. And they're trying to figure out what to do without having to technically reboot it, but with all of the silly interdimensional stuff, it's almost been rebooted to oblivion at this point in a weird way. What they're starting to look at now is, okay, well, what's the next step? How do we get this? How do we get the MCU or something like it back online? Warner Brothers is doing the same thing right now with DC. Well, let's take a trip back in time to the early 90s and the Batman movie franchise. Kicked off strong in 1989. It was Batmania all over again. Batman Return comes out. Okay, a little controversial. It was a kind of a dark movie. And Warner's wanted to push it more towards kids because the merchandising was really kicking in. So out goes Tim Burton. In comes Joel Schumacher. And we get a couple more that are... I didn't even bother and go see the fourth one, honestly. My sister watched it and she goes, "It's Batman's barely in it. Don't bother." And I didn't. It didn't look good from the prequels or the teasers that I saw. So this brief little franchise of Batman that went absolutely insane crashed and burned pretty quickly. And that's it for Batman, right? Wrong. And why? In my opinion, what saved Batman for him to arise again in another franchise of films, etc., etc.? And that was Batman the Animated Series. Paul Dini, Bruce Timm. Absolutely fantastic. If you're into comic books, if you're a nerd, you know it. Followed up by Superman. And then you get Batman Beyond, and you get Justice League, and you get Justice League Unlimited. Wonderful cartoons who, again, made alterations sometimes to the characters, but did a really good job of getting the heart of the characters. And here's the most important thing, in my opinion, if you're trying to build a future movie franchise. They had a young audience, children, teens, and let's be honest, a bunch of us old nerds, because we just love that kind of stuff. And once you got to the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, for sure, you're introducing a lot of characters that people had never seen before. And making them known and making them cool. They look good, great voice acting, etc. That's creating this awareness that at one point was created by the DC comic books or the Marvel comic books. But see, the comic books, they don't sell like they used to kids. And so all of a sudden you got some people who are, well, they're aging out in terms of fans. You need to bring them in. Now, you could probably bring them in with comic books once again. A lot of kids are reading manga. Very popular. There's no reason they couldn't be reading American comic books. But for whatever reason, business problems or what have you, they're not. They're not selling like they used to. And they have some of the same problems that you get with the MCU of like alternate versions of this and alternate versions of that. And let's reboot, and, and all of a sudden it's like, well, which Hulk do you like? Well, there's 50 to choose from. In my day, there was one to choose from. Maybe two, if you counted, Lou Ferrigno in the TV series. Hulk sort of changed as a character over time, but it was the Hulk. That was it. It was the Hulk. There was Spider-Man, right? A lot of that's been lost on the comic book side, but you can have it in the animation side if you got people involved who are real fans. And I don't mean fans like they're they're focused on minutia and all that kind of stuff, but just people who have this exuberance and this love for the material. And they're going like, oh, we've got to do Ragnarok, and oh, we've got to do this, and we've got to do that storyline. It's going to be so cool, and let's get Beta Ray Bill in there, and let's do that. And okay. That to me is that passion and that love is translated through cartoons and through other means, and it gets people hyped and gets people into it. The first Avengers movie did that. I'm sitting there with my daughter watching this movie. And at that point, I'd seen Iron Man, and I liked it. I'd seen first Captain America movie, and I didn't care for it that much. It was okay. I'd seen the first Thor movie. I'm a huge fan of Thor. It was okay to me. I didn't like it that much. I didn't like some of the changes they made. So the Avengers movie is coming out. I'm like, okay, well, we'll give it a try. And dude, the scene where Cap is confronting Loki and Iron Man comes out and the boom, boom, boom. And I'm literally elbowing my daughter going, check it out. Check it out. It's Cap and Iron Man. This kind of stuff translates through movies, through cartoons, through TV shows, through comic books. And a lot of that passion is not there anymore. It's just not. It's passion for, I want to tell a story about me, and not a story, I want to tell a story about Peter Parker or whomever. Take your pick of any of these characters. You get back to that, and I think you're going to be able to make a splash once again with these characters and these franchises. I think animation is a great way to do it. The Deanie Tim universe, to me, resurrected DC. It brought a lot of people into it who wouldn't have otherwise been. Cartoon like the old X-Men cartoon from the 90s, huge, created a lot of X-Men fans who probably wouldn't have been otherwise. And a lot of them probably got into the comic books as a result of it. And I think Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, was a way to do that. Now, the series that replaced it, Avengers Assemble, and I got through about maybe 5 to 10 minutes of the first episode, and I'm like, it's not for me. It felt more like it was, 85% movies and maybe 15% actual Marvel comic universe. I just wasn't interested in it. Although it did do rather well, from what I understand. But I think if you want to relaunch your universes, your franchises, what have you, you got to go for kids. These are kid properties. As many of us adults out there who love this stuff, they're kid properties. When George Lucas made Star Wars, he kept saying, I want to make a movie that 10-year-old boys are going to love. And he made movies that a lot of people loved. But he kept that focus. I think with cartoons, you can do something like that. 10-year-old boys, 10-year-old girls, whoever. Whoever. It doesn't matter. As long as that passion's there, you bring them in. Now they have an understanding of the Marvel Universe and who these characters are and how they relate and how they connect. And then you can take it to the movie screen, and maybe have a fresh start. If you just keep on plowing out movies the way they're doing, and that they're not budgeting very well, you're going to see more and more of a crash and burn kind of situation. I think bringing back a series like this would be a great way just to help reboot the MCU. Heck, you know what? Put these things on YouTube, streaming or just episode by episode. YouTube lately, I've seen Phineas and Ferb showing up there, a whole bunch of Disney cartoons. Kim Possible has been showing up, etc. I think a cartoon like this could really get people excited for the universe, whether they're the old episodes, because these are very good cartoons, or the new ones, or a new cartoon that has that same kind of passion. I think that's what you need. But you got to get people who genuinely love the comic books and want to share that love with an audience. You can play with them. You could tinker with them. You don't want to tinker too much or you start messing up storylines and messing up characters. But you can do some of that as long as that core is there and as long as that love and passion is there. I think you got something. So Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, thumbs up, A+. If you've never watched the cartoon, go seek it out and find it. I only recently got all of the episodes on DVD. Took a while for me to put them together. I got some good prices on them at Zia Records. I'm sure you could find this stuff out there. And I think they do have this maybe on Disney Plus. I think my daughter was telling me that I would personally try to get it out there to a wider audience, but I think you can maybe find it there. So if you've never watched these, give them a look, especially if you're a Marvel Comics fan. I think you'll be really pleased with them. There are going to be changes, and maybe there will be a change that just kills it for you. I don't know. None of the changes killed it for me. You know, of course, my daughter would have to sit in there and listen to me go, well, technically, that's what old comic book nerds do. But it was never to the point that I wasn't happy with these and enjoying them. And I really wish it had gotten more seasons. I think the creative team behind it was doing an absolutely fantastic job. Oh, and they wanted to bring so many more cool things to us and didn't get the chance. C'est la vie. But go out, find the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and give this show a chance. I think you'll find it very much worth your while. So are you a fan? Or maybe you're not a fan. Maybe you preferred Avengers Assemble more. Hey, let me know in the comments. I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to talk with you. I'll do my best to get back to you. And if you have any questions about the cartoon, I'd be happy to try to answer them if I can. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. That helps my little channel grow. Maybe think about subscribing. Maybe share with a friend. Why not? It doesn't cost you a thing. Well, if you share it with a friend and they hate it, maybe it'll cost you a friend. But, you know, a real friend will stick by you no matter what. Until next video, though, God bless everybody. Be kind to one another. And try to have some fun. And I'll see you again on Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.